Hello again everyone, welcome back to our channel. In this video, we're going to be discussing some of the main points for this week, January 6th to 12th, 2025. And what can we look forward to? In this week's Bible reading, we are reading about the important assignment for parents. And the first section of our midweek meeting is highlighting that parents continue to care for your precious inheritance. And that precious inheritance is related not with material things, but with their children. Jehovah appreciates it when parents rely on Him and do their best to care for their children. That's really important. Then, in the second assignment, Spiritual Gems, we're going to be responding the question, why does the psalmist compare sons to the shoots or leaves of an olive tree? And the third section, Living as Christians, is reminding us this important assignment. Parents, are you using this powerful teaching tool? But what's that powerful teaching tool? Is that a video from jw.org? Or is that a book for young people? Let's find out through this consideration. And we are concluding with the chapter 20, the last paragraphs of this chapter in the Congregation Bible Study. So friends, thanks for joining us. And now let's start with the first talk entitled, Parents, Continue to Care for Your Precious Inheritance, Your Precious Children. Imagine for a moment that we are holding a truly priceless gift, something irreplaceable and beyond value. Perhaps we think of something material like a jewel or a piece of property, but in reality, that invaluable gift is our children. What a beautiful gift from Jehovah. Jehovah, in His love and wisdom, has entrusted us with this treasure, giving us the responsibility to guide and care for them. However, being parents is not only a blessing, but also a challenge and a privilege, a great responsibility. It's not for anybody. Today, we want to discuss about how, as parents, we must value this inheritance Jehovah has given us and how we can trust in Him to help us fulfill this important assignment. The care of our children is not something that we should take lightly or as not important. It's a sacred responsibility or assignment. So, we'll discuss how Jehovah is willing to help us and how, with His guidance, we can raise our children to become an integral part of His family. So, let's dive in. First of all, let's see what's the basis for this in Psalm 127, verses 1 and 2. And it reads, unless Jehovah builds the house, it's in vain that its builders work hard on it. Unless Jehovah guards the city, it's in vain that the guard stays awake. It's in vain that you rise up early, that you stay up late, that you toil for your food, since He provides for His loved ones while giving them sleep. So we read, and this is such a deep lesson because it shows us that as a parent, we are not alone in our assignment. Jehovah is with us, willing to help us care for our families. Sometimes being a parent can feel overwhelming, all the challenges and the days, the responsibilities are many. The days seem short and the challenges constant, but we must not forget this. Jehovah is our ally. He's not against us, He's with us. He has given us the ability to be parents, and as the best Father, He guides us and strengthens us. When we ask for His help, when we trust His direction, He'll be our side, not only guiding us, but also providing the support and wisdom we need to care for and teach our children. Now let's see how the Bible describes our children, and this description is at Psalm 127 verse 3. It reads, "Look, sons are an inheritance from Jehovah. The fruit of the womb is a reward." That's very true. How beautiful it's to know that our children are a direct gift from Jehovah. Each child is unique, each child is special, and each child is a reflection of Jehovah's love for us. At times, the daily routine, the struggles of everyday life, and concerns about the future can make us forget the true beauty of being parents. That's understandable. But have you ever stopped to think about how fortunate we are to have children? Jehovah didn't give the angels the ability to have children, but He gave it to us, humans. Not only that, but He also gave us the sacred assignment and responsibility of raising them and guiding them so they can come to love and serving just as we do. That's a great responsibility to teach them to love and serve Jehovah, not just with words, but through our actions or good example. And the privilege of being parents comes with a great responsibility. Jehovah not only asks us to care for our children physically, but also charges us with the task of educating them spiritually. It's our job to teach them to love, trust, and serving. This is not something we can take lightly, nor is this a task we can delegate to the brothers in the congregation or to any other person. It's our responsibility. But we are not alone. Jehovah provides some resources. His organization, through publications, videos, songs, and online articles, offers an invaluable resources to help us in this assignment. So the Bible is comparing each children at Psalm 127 verse 4. Let's find out what's the final description. Like arrows in the hand of a mighty man, so are the sons of one's youth. We notice the comparison, like arrows. This verse teaches us a beautiful lesson. While all children are gifts from Jehovah, they are different from one another, like arrows. And as such, they must be raised in unique ways, taking into account their individual needs, getting to know each one of them, each of our children, understanding their strengths, weaknesses, and unique characteristics or personalities is crucial in guiding them in the best way possible. A couple in our time, who succeeded in helping both of their children serve Jehovah, share their method. But this is not a rule, it's just their experience. And was studying the Bible with each of them separately, they recognize that each child learns in their own pace, their own process, understands things differently, and has their own spiritual journey. Not all children learn in the same way, so it's essential that we take the time to know them and guide them according to their needs. So, friends, in conclusion, do you know what makes Jehovah the happiest? When we trust in Him, when we seek His guidance, and when we do everything we can to care for our children according to His will. Our great Master, Jesus, welcomed the children and told His disciples, "Let the little children come to me, and don't forbid them, for of such is the kingdom of God." Children are so important to Jehovah. He loves them deeply and wants parents, like Himself, to care for them and guide them. When as parents we seek Jehovah for strength, wisdom, and guidance in raising our children, He's very pleased. He's giving us the honor of working with Him and raising up a new generation of servants. So, friends, brothers and sisters, being parents is one of the greatest gifts that Jehovah has given us, but it's also a great sacred responsibility. It's a privilege. It's not for anybody. The inheritance He has entrusted us is precious, and it requires our effort, dedication, and love. Let's remember that we are not alone in this work. Jehovah is with us and provides everything we need to care for, educate, and guide our children so they can become part of His family forever. So, friends, let us keep working together, trusting in Jehovah and nurturing this beautiful gift of parenthood. With Jehovah's help, let's raise our children in harmony with His will and ensure that they too learn to love and serve Him with all their hearts. Okay, friends, that's a wrap for this video. Okay, now let's move on to the spiritual gems section. So let's start with the first question. It comes from Psalm 128, verse 3. Your wife will be like a fruitful vine within your house. Your sons will be like shoots of an olive tree around your table. So why does the psalmist compare sons to the shoots or leaves of an olive tree? And this is really interesting because leaves or shoots cut from a ground olive tree are often used for starting new trees. Like such shoots, sons would surround a father, contributing their part to the happiness of the family. Another comment: children, sons, and daughters today, they can think about how their actions and attitudes impact their family. They can strive to be a support to their parents and not abandon Jehovah, thus continuing their family's spiritual legacy. That's a practical lesson we learn from this point. Now let's read the next question. What spiritual gems from this week's Bible reading would you like to share? And let's start with number 1. We're going to be reading Psalm 127, verse 1. It reads, "Unless Jehovah builds the house, it's in vain that its builders work hard on it. Unless Jehovah guards the city, it's in vain that guard stays awake." This teaches us that Jehovah must be the foundation or basis of all our projects. Without Him, our plans lack purpose and true stability. When we trust in His guidance and seek His will, our efforts are not in vain. Number 2. Psalm 127 verse 2 reads, "It's in vain that you raise up early, that you stay up late, that you toil for your food, since he provides for his loved ones while giving them sleep." This psalm teaches us that Jehovah wants us to work, but also to trust in his provision and to rest well. He cares for us even while we sleep. He's our faithful provider, and he'll never leave us or abandon us. Number 3, Psalm 127:3 reads, "Look, sons are an inheritance from Jehovah. The fruit of the womb is a reward." This psalm teaches us that family is a gift from God. Children also, in particular, are a blessing that we should value, guide, and care for with love. This teaches us that having children is not only a right, it's a privilege and a serious responsibility for which we'll one day respond before Jehovah. And this is really sad. Many people today, they are not aware of it. They think having children is just a right, but they don't understand that's a serious responsibility and a privilege. And many of them, they are not able to be good parents. Okay, number 4, 128 verse 1, this reads, "Happy is everyone who fears Jehovah, who walks in his ways." This teaches that true happiness comes from living according to biblical principles, Bible principles. To fear Jehovah is not to be afraid, but to respect him deeply and trust in him. It's good for us to examine our decisions and ask ourselves if they are aligned with Bible principles. 5. 128:2 reads, "You'll eat what your hands worked hard to produce. You'll be happy and will enjoy prosperity." Jehovah rewards honest and diligent work. He wants us to enjoy the fruits of our labor and find joy in the blessings he gives us, which enables to share our blessings with others. 6. 128:3, the same verse, makes us think about having a wife, having children, and being a husband and a father is not just anything. It's not something not important. It's really important and significant. It's not like it's seen on TV or in Netflix. It's a right, but also a serious responsibility. And it's sad because many people today are not ready for such responsibility. That's why the organization recommends being prepared emotionally, spiritually, even economically before this step. Number 7, 129 verse 2 reads, "Since my youth they have constantly attacked me, but they have not defeated me." This teaches us that the Christian life is not without difficulties, but God gives us the strength to resist and move forward no matter how many attacks we face. Every challenge is an opportunity to grow in faith and strength. Number 8, 129 verse 4 reads, "But Jehovah is righteous. He has cut up the robes of the wicked." This teaches us that Jehovah God is fair. And even though the wicked seem to prosper, God's justice will prevail. This motivates us to trust in his justice, divine justice, even when circumstances seem unfair, and to pray for those who have harmed us, leaving matters in Jehovah's hands, who will act in his own time. This is really significant because the Bible states that Jehovah never is gonna judge an innocent person as a guilty one and vice versa. And that's something very common today. It's not fair enough, but Jehovah is never gonna act in that way. Number 9. 129 verse 6 reads, "They'll become like grass on the rooftops that withers before it's pulled up." Those who do evil won't have lasting prosperity. Their apparent success is temporary, and their actions won't produce true fruit. The success that comes from God is eternal. Those who trust in Him and obey Him will have a lasting inheritance in the new world. And finally, number 10. 129 verse 8 reads, "Those passing by will not say, 'May the blessing of Jehovah be upon you. We bless you in the name of Jehovah.' That won't happen on the wicked ones. True blessing comes from Jehovah and is reserved for those who are faithful to Him. And this motivates us to thank Jehovah for the blessings, big and small, in our lives, and to share them with others, being a source of encouragement and hope to others." Now, let's move on to the Living as Christians section for this week. So, the assignment number 7, part number 7, entitled "Parents, are you using this powerful teaching tool?" This is a discussion. And what's that powerful teaching tool? And that's our example. Really powerful tool. Let's read together what the Bible states at John 13, verses 13 to 15. It reads, "You address me as teacher and Lord, and you are correct, for I'm such. Therefore, if I, the Lord and teacher, wash your feet, you also should wash the feet of one another. For I set the pattern for you that just as I did to you, you should also do." So why do you think Jesus' method of teaching by example was effective? And that's a remarkable example we find out. He was not the typical leader who says to others, "Do this or that." Jesus is rather the leader who says, "Let's do this together. Let's work together. Let's learn together." So that's really impressive, and we admire his example. And his example motivated his disciples. And that's the pattern, that's the method. And it's very important and interesting how we can apply or imitate his method in many areas of our life. For example, family life. So this discussion includes a video, and after seeing that video, we have some questions to respond. And the first one reads, "What important lessons did brother and sister Garcia teach their daughters?" And thinking about 1 Corinthians 3:10, they were considering this verse, and it's about a good basis. So having a good basis in a spiritual sense, they also taught them to take care of themselves in a spiritual and physical sense. Another comment, they taught their daughters to love and worship Jehovah. They lead a simple life, a simple style of life. They didn't need many things to be happy, and their daughters learn that from them, from their example. Another important lesson is about one day that their vehicle didn't start. One of their daughters thought that they couldn't go to the meeting that day, but they were impressed with the answer of their parent when he said they would go walking to the meeting. They learned that there is no problem or worry that could stop them from attending meetings, from going to meetings. Of course, there are some exceptions, and that's understandable also. They spend quality time together. That's another very important lesson. They used to eat together. They used to have conversations and made them feel important. Okay, now another lesson they taught their daughters. The parents taught their daughters to be spiritual people with words and actions, to take Jehovah into account in their lives, seeking the kingdom first, and they decided to follow the good teaching of their parents. And this is really important because in a certain moment, the children, sons and daughters, they make their decisions. They make up their mind about what they're gonna do in their lives. And believe it or not, there are some cases of great parents, great brothers and sisters, and they did a great work, a great job educating their children, but in a certain age, their children, their sons or daughters, they decided not to serve Jehovah. So that's understandable, is the free will each one of us have. It's sad, but it's a reality. But we notice how these parents, they have good daughters, and they decided to apply the good teaching they received from their parents. Sometimes that's not happening. There are some children or boys or daughters, and they decided not to follow the good teaching they received from their parents. Okay, another question: how does this video motivate you to continue setting a good example for your children? And this is really important for us, especially if we have children, and it's very helpful. It's important to prevent technology from dividing our family. We are not saying that using technology is a grave sin or something like that, but there is no doubt technology might divide our family, and it doesn't matter if we live in the same place, in the same house. There are some families and they are eating together, but each one of them is checking their phone at the time of food, of meal, and they are not able to have a conversation as we saw in the video. It's normal that even though we live in the same place, everyone is on their own screen or is on their own phone or device. So we respect the time for every single thing. And another comment is good to talk at meals, not to argue, not to offend someone, but have a pleasant conversation, as we've seen in this video, to avoid screens, avoiding using the phone or electronic device during the meal, and instead of that, talking about how their day is going, what was said at the meetings, etc. These are the best conversations with our family. And it's good to be realistic and talk about what children will do with their lives, what spiritual goals they have, and help them achieve them. It's good to be aware that they won't always be little babies. When they reach a certain age, they'll feel attraction and doubts about the opposite sex. And that's normal attraction. It's very common, it's understandable. It's good that we help them to resolve their doubts and give them some wise advice. Let's conclude our review with the Congregation Bible Study. For this week, we have chapter 20, paragraphs 13 to 20, and we are concluding this chapter. And the sub-theme reads, Growing and Prevailing Despite Wicked Spirits. Paragraph 13 and 14, question A. Jehovah enabled Paul to do what? And the answer is, with Jehovah enabling Paul to perform extraordinary, powerful works and miracles, even clothes and aprons that Paul wore were taken to seek people who were cured. Wicked spirits were driven out by these means too. Something similar happened with Jesus and Peter, and we are sure that the rest of the disciples. Okay, question B. What mistake did the sons of Sceva make, and how do many Christendom today err in a similar way? And the Bible mentions that some Jews try to expel demons by invoking the names of Jesus and Paul. The 7 sons of Sceva, members of a priestly family who sought to do this, the demon said to them, I know Jesus and am acquainted with Paul, but who are you? The possessed man then attacked those charlatans, leaping on them like a wild beast, sending them scaring off, wounded and naked. So this teaches us that this is not a game. Spiritual world is not a game, it's not a joke, it's something very real and serious. And some lessons we learn from this account. There are millions today who wrongly assume that simply calling on the name of Jesus or labeling oneself Christian is enough. As Jesus indicated, though, only those actually doing the will of his Father have a real hope for the future. This is according to Matthew 7:21 to 23. And many people today, they think that being a Christian, a real Christian, is just repeating that they are Christians, or they are going or attending to church every Sunday, or they say the prayer of salvation, and that's more than enough. But that's completely wrong. That's not what the Bible really teaches. And if we try to reason with them about what's the meaning of God's will, they have no clue, they have no idea about it. They think God's will is just going to church every Sunday and that's more enough. But that's completely wrong. Okay, let's move on to the next one, paragraph 15. When it comes to spiritism and objects connected with spiritistic practices, how can we follow the example of the Ephesians? So we notice that they deleted their books of Spiritism, but very pricey books. And should we find that we own something connected to Spiritism, we would do as the Ephesians did, get rid of it promptly. Let us keep far away from such practices, whatever the cost or price. Some lessons we learn from this account: if we have objects, books, or practices that are related with the occult or Spiritism, we should get rid of them regardless of their cost or sentimental value. It's a way of demonstrating our loyalty to God. Another comment: studying and sharing the Word of God can have a powerful effect on our lives and the lives of others. Developing a healthy fear of God helps us to stay away from sin and to live according to His will. This involves making decisions that reflect our devotion and respect for Him. Being faithful to God may mean giving up things that we value or that are popular in society. Quite a disturbance arose. Paragraph 16 and 17, question A, describe how Demetrius got the riot started in Ephesus. So this man was very smart, but with bad intentions. He got the attention of his workmates by first reminding them that their prosperity came from selling idols. He went on to suggest that the message Paul preached was bad for their business, since the Christians didn't worship idols. Then he appealed to the civic pride and nationalism of his audience, warning them that their goddess and their world-famous temple tour were in danger of being viewed as nothing. And then he encouraged them to act against Paul and his partners. Question B, how did the Ephesians show their fanaticism? And this particular group of people, we are not saying that all the Ephesians, but this particular group were completely unreasonable people. Was just simply impossible to have a kind conversation or dialogue with them because they were not willing to listen. Today, there are some people like them. There are some people, religious fanaticism also, and they say they are Christians, they say they believe in God, but they are not able or capable to have a kind conversation with us. This religious fanaticism also causes people to behave like crazy people who are not willing to reason. So that's ironic and contradictory. Some lessons we learn from this account: when we preach, we may face opposition, especially if it affects the economic interests of others. It's important to approach religious differences with respect and an open mind. Fanaticism is not only harmful but also prevents constructive dialogue. Courage must be accompanied by wisdom. It's not always wise to expose oneself to danger unnecessarily. Facing challenges is easier when we have the support of our brothers and sisters. We must be supportive of one another, providing support, advice, and protection when needed, as the brothers did with the Apostle Paul, and he accepted their help. 18 and 19. How did the city recorder quiet the mob in Ephesus? These men with certain authority, this official, assured the mob that their temple and goddess were in no danger from these Christians. They listened this man with authority that Paul, also he said them that Paul and his companions had committed no crime against the temple and that there was a due process in place for raising such issues. Perhaps most tellingly, he reminded the mob that they were in danger of incurring the wrath of Rome for this unlawful and unruly gathering. And with that being said, he dismissed the crowd. Question B. How have Jehovah's people at times been protected by secular authorities, and what role may we play in such protection? In many cases, fair-minded judges have moved to protect the rights of Jehovah's Witnesses to meet for worship and to share the good news with others. Of course, our own conduct may play a role in such victories. Paul's conduct had apparently won him the friendly respect of some governmental officials in Ephesus, so they were eager to see him saved. May our honest and respectful conduct make a favorable impression on those who we meet as well. Some lessons we learn from this account. In tough situations, it's crucial to remain calm and seek reasonable solutions, respecting and using legal channels and established authorities can help resolve problems peacefully and effectively. A good reputation not only glorifies God, but can also protect us in times of adversity. We should strive to be examples of kindness, respect, and honesty in all our interactions. Okay, we are concluding with paragraph 20. Question A. How do you feel about the way Jehovah's Word prevailed in the first century and is prevailing today? We are thrilled. We certainly feel excited and grateful to see victories that Jehovah now gives to his servants, to his people around the earth. And these are precedents. And question B. What is your resolve regarding Jehovah's victories in our time? And we want to do our best, strive to be humble, accept changes in the organization, keep working hard in the field service. We reject spiritism, and we do everything possible to bear good witness with our respectful and honest conduct. Okay, friends, that's a wrap for this consideration. Thank you so much for joining us, and if you like this video, please consider subscribe to our channel, and we hope you have a wonderful day, and see you next time.